Today we're going to play a little bit of a game. This isn't Saw. I'm not going to put you in the reverse bear trap or all like that. Today we're going to play a game of Generation 2 Pokemon secrets. Which do you know and which do you not know? Which have you already found out? Today we see 17 obscure secrets in Generation 2 Pokemon. And we're going to keep track of how many of them we know, how many of them we don't know. And it all starts with whatever it starts with.
Changing your player color palette to hit.
There you go. That's what it starts. I didn't know you could do that. That's cool. You know what would be really cool if they provided you the option to do that from the very beginning, because I feel like it wouldn't be that difficult. You can already play as a female character. Just being able to dye your clothes or something like that would be interesting. But at the same time, they probably wanted to keep it red because red is... Oh, red's called red. Yeah, no, they're not going to do that. Red is literally called red.
Hidden buildings and graffiti. These are 17 secrets you didn't know in Pokemon Gold, Silver, and Crystal. So I've been playing these games since they came out, and for that reason, I was...
Me too. Oh, I remember just grabbing it from the shelf in a game shop when I was but a wee baron with my mum. I remember seeing it. I remember playing Pokemon Reds and Blue, or just Blue really, and Yellow, and then we walked into a shop. I think it was somewhere in the city of Newcastle, and lo and behold, sparkling was Pokemon Silver on the shelf. I looked at it and thought, what? There's more of them. There's more Pokemon. Mom, there's more Pokemon.
I was very surprised to see something I didn't know about at the very start of the game. In Crystal, there is a save corruption exploit you can perform to actually change the color palette of your character. It basically
save corruption?
To give you the female character in orange or the male character in blue.
Wait, the female character in orange kind of goes hard, though.
You start a new game, select a character, and then save and reset your game upon entering the world. The sex you choose here will be the character that you get. From here, you then start another new game with the opposite character and save again, but this time you turn off your game as the 3 dots appear on the...
Wait, that's so sick. Wait, is that just Whitney? I think that's just Whitney. Isn't that... That's very close to what Whitney looks like, but actually it's a really cool color palette. I wish that was an option.
Saving. And so performing this glitch right will take the color palette of the second character and place it onto the character you chose first.
That is such a cool little gimmick.
Shout out to Mike Taylor Gaming for showing me this exploit.
Yeah, that's a really cool one. I did not know that, so I'm 0 for 0 right now.
One intentionally interesting feature of Pokemon Gold and Silver is that they actually had different Pokemon sprites between the games. To my knowledge, this is the only game in the entire series that did this. And
Wait, oh, I guess they have different sprites when you compare Ruby and Sapphire to Emerald, but they're not really counterparts. Emerald is more like the definitive version of the two. But between the two individual games, Gold and Silver, Red and Blue, I guess Green had different sprites compared to Japanese Red, maybe? Or when they released the updated Red, that one had different sprites, I suppose?
And while for the most part, these details aren't too different, there is one fun detail in Gold that is actually mind-blowing.
Okay, hold on. Did the separate sprites come from the animation that they then added into Crystal? Because they added animations when your Pokemon gets sent in battle, there's like a... It does something, obviously. Are those two separate sprites the different frames in that animation? I'd be interested.
The sprite design for Kabutops is... well, bad. And I actually realized that this is simply just a slightly modified version of the Kabutops Gen 1 sprite. Like, yeah, the silver version is great, but my poor gold Kabutops really got done dirty. Now,
I mean, it's not too... The eyes look a bit weird, I will admit.
Another interesting difference between these two games is actually the addition of one more item in Gold. Now, I'm sure most of you are familiar with the super rare item held by Ho-Oh called the Sacred Ash.
Oh, does Lugia not have a counterpart?
Not able to be used during battle, it revives all of your teammates to full health when used. So, in other words, it's 5 max potions and 5 revives. But the thing that I found really interesting about this is that it actually puts Gold as having 1 extra obtainable item than Silver. Lugia, and actually Suicune for that matter as well, do not have secret held items. And this was because...
It's really unfortunate. They should have gave Lugia something good. They could do like a PP restoration or... a special move.
Originally, the plan for this game was to be a single release, with Ho-Oh being the box art legendary. It was only later decided to split the games up again, and this is the reason Lugia does not have an item. And that's...
They're like, wait, don't release that game. Hold on. We could make so much money. Guys, we released Pokemon 5 times. We had the green, Japanese Red, American Red, American Blue, then we did Yellow. We did it 5 times. We could release the same game so many times. And then they did it, and they released the same game so many times. And you know what happened? Biggest media franchise in the world.
Certainly not the only difference between game versions. In the Japanese version of Pokemon Crystal, there is actually a completely different Pokemon Center in Goldenrod City. Way bigger than the original Pokemon Center, this is actually called the Pokécom Center. And that's not the only secret that exists in Goldenrod City. You remember?
Wait, is the Pokémon Center the place where you get the time machine where you can transfer between the old versions and the new versions, right?
The Sudowoodo blocking the path to Ecruteak City? Well, if you use a move like Roar or Whirlwind against the Sudowoodo, it will show an animation of it running away after the battle.
That's really cool. I did not know that. That is a really cool little detail. I think of all of the details I know, I just knew one so far, which was the different sprites.
This is not the only secret revolving around Sudowoodo. So if you don't activate the Sudowoodo vent and use a walkthrough wall glitch to get onto the next route, you can actually see the 2 twins that you would normally battle north of this route, not properly loaded. I don't really know.
Okay, that is interesting. There must be some kind of trigger that goes off when you battle the Sudowoodo that loads in the next set of trainers. I don't know why they wouldn't have them loaded in to begin with. Obviously, there's some weird memory details that happens in these games because they barely fit it on the cartridge regardless. So they probably have to do some magical mysticism. They have to do some rituals and curses on the cartridge for it to work properly. And this is, I guess, one of them. This is really weird.
On here, and it's the only instance in the game where
I've
never seen this happen. Interacting with the
glitches.
Top and bottom of these characters will just show you the 2 different versions.
What is going on? There's green pixels there.
The overworld sprite for Sudowoodo. But talking to them on their left and right then turns them into surfing Laprases. It's a
I love it when games start to fall apart.
very weird glitch that only happens to them and no other NPCs.
I've said always that these early generation Pokemon games are held together with paper mache, hopes, and dreams.
Now, before we get away from Goldenrod City, there still is one other cool secret. While the Gyarados in the Lake of Rage has a 100% chance to be shiny, it's not the only easy shiny you can obtain through these games.
Oh, the egg. Yeah, the egg. Okay, two.
Goldenrod exists.
Wait, it's a 1 in, what is it? Is it 1 in 8? It's a 1 in 8 chance to be shiny, right?
Here. And upon your first visit, you will actually receive an egg. And it can be one of the many baby Pokemon introduced into this game. But what a lot of people don't know is that there's actually a 14% chance for this egg to be shiny.
Which is 1 in 8, I believe.
Moving away from Goldenrod and onto Ecruteak City has even more secrets. So in Pokemon...
Okay, so we're counting that's 2. I have 2 so far. Keep track of your own score.
Crystal, we find the 3 legendary beasts at the bottom of the burned tower. But going through the game files actually reveals cut NPC dialogue referencing the Entei movie. It says, oh no, my daughter is missing. No, she couldn't have gone to the burned tower. I told her not to go near it. And so this...
Oh yeah, a child would never disobey their parent, would they? A child, surely my child would never do something I told them not to do. That's ridiculous. It wouldn't happen.
This is a direct reference to what actually happens in that movie. A girl goes missing with Entei. Now why?
It's the Spring the Unknown Spells adventure. That's really cool. You know what? That's a really cool tagline.
Why this was ultimately cut is unknown, but it's still a very cool
unknown. There he goes. He slipped it in there. You slipped. I don't think that'll get past me. I heard that.
Information. Perhaps it was a side quest that they just didn't have enough space for. But that's not the only cool thing in Ecruteak. While most stone evolutions were near impossible to get before Kanto in these games, there is one consistent option I never knew about.
Which is silly because in the original games, they had a place where you could just buy the stones. And then for some reason, they started to get all stingy with it. They were like, oh no, sorry, we can't afford these. We don't have it in the budget. Come back next quarter.
Once you get the TM Surf, you can access the second room in the ruins of Alph. And while basically useless in Gold and Silver, they actually added reward puzzles in Crystal. Upon completing the Surf room and using the TM Flash, a secret room opens up. And the room contains 4 items, with one of them being a Moonstone, which is actually a pretty big deal. Because this means you can get a Nidoking by the 4th gym. And while not the beast it was in Gen 1,
is pretty sick.
It's still a nice option for your team in a game that was lacking huge diversity.
Yeah, they've literally put Nidoran as available Pokemon, but they don't give you a Moonstone. Unless you do this weird hullabaloo that's going on over there.
So I didn't know that Crystal had this. I really thought it was just a Heart Gold and Soul Silver thing. See?
I do remember the area with the 4 items in Hot Gold Soul Silver because it's a massive place in Kaizo Ironmon. If you randomly get an escape rope before that you pass that area, you can go back and you can get all those items, and it's like a huge buff.
That room open up for the first time was pretty cool. But one thing that is exclusive to Crystal is this friendship feature. So if you level up a Pokemon on the route you caught it in this game, it actually gets additional friendship bonus. And what's especially
Why? Does it miss its home? Does it miss its family?
cool is there as a trainer on Route 39 north of Olivine who actually references this. She will only battle you at night, and upon beating her, she tells you that Pokemon gain more friendship by battling them on their home route. Now, moving south of this route, we end up in the oceanside city of Olivine. Now, credit to Pete Caspray for
Okay, he's just in the middle of a tree now.
finding this, but there is actually a secret house in the top left corner of Olivine City. Like, I'm
Okay, I did
talking
not know
if
this.
you go all the way up to the
What?
far left corner and use a glitch to access it, you will actually fall down into a secret house.
Is that the fly house from Kanto?
It seems as though there was supposed to be another building in this place, and instead of completely cutting it, they just lazily kind of moved it off to where the player couldn't access. What's even cooler is that the lady in here references the pharmacist being in Ecruteak City rather than Cyanwood. Now, one secret probably a lot of you know about is the GS Ball. Available on the Virtual Console, this was an item that allowed you to catch Celebi in the Ilex Forest.
And Shiny Hunt Celebi, which I did. Shiny Hunt Celebi. For far too long. 18,000 encounters, baby.
So I've probably spent over 100 hours going through the Pokemon Crystal game code, and there is actually a string of code for the North American version, which includes this. The thing is that it was only turned on in Japan. But if you actually change the game files for the North American version, you can still do this. You just set a line of code to true, and after beating the Elite Four, you go to Goldenrod City, and a nurse just simply gives you the GS Ball. You then
That's all you need to do is just set a piece of code to true. Man, programming is an enigma to
go
me.
to Kurtz into the Ilex Forest and you catch yourself a mythical. But upon beating the Elite Four, that's not it. Because if we go over to Kanto and head to Celadon City, there's a very fun little Easter egg. In the big building where you get an EV in Gen 1, on the top floor, if you go to the top right corner and hit A on the side of the stairs, you can actually draw a mustache on graffiti. A very weird, small little Easter egg that they definitely didn't need to put in. But
Yeah, I've never seen this before. How did they have time? The fact that they had time for that actually blows my mind, considering what a time crunch they were on to make this game.
Again, Kanto's bare enough as it is, so maybe I appreciate it. But that's not the only weird feature. Between Cerulean and Saffron City, what was the daycare in Gen 1, this building has a sign on the door, and if you press A, it says that it's for sale and nobody lives there. The weird thing is that you can just walk right on in and there are people. Now, while most areas...
What? They're squatters. Oh no, they're illegal. We have to turf them out.
So were cut. There was one area that had a fun secret to it. Mount Moon is small, but does still exist in this game. And if you go all the way through at night on Tuesdays, you can actually see a short scene of Clefairies dancing around a rock. And
I did know that. All right, I'm going to count that as number 3, because I'm pretty sure I didn't know any of the other stuff.
Smashing that rock, you actually get a free Moonstone. And this is not the only rare item found in Kanto. While Cerulean Cave was cut, you can still find a Berserk Gene outside of Cerulean Cave, or
what is a Berserk Gene?
Where Cerulean Cave would have been. This is the only game where this item is available, and it's very odd. At the cost of confusion, it raises the Pokemon's attack. And honestly, it's probably for the best that this thing was cut. Imagine giving this to a Pokemon that has own tempo. You'd enter battle, get a free +2 attack, and then you can't even get confused. But
wait, it gives you +2 into your attack stat? Oh my god, you throw this mon in and it gets a sword dance? Imagine you give this to a Zacian nowadays. Boom, throw it in. Intrepid sword. +2 from Berserk Gene. Well, I guess you would get confused. Yeah, never mind. You would get confused. But if you're lucky, then you just won't hit yourself. See, if you use that, I'm sure you do really well with it.
Overall, this is a very nice little reference to Mewtwo. But probably the coolest secret and reference to Pokemon Red and Blue revolves around Snorlax. So in Gen 1's Kanto, there are 2 separate Snorlaxes within the game. But in Generation 2's version of Kanto, there is only one near Diglett's Cave. I always thought that this was a random design choice, but it's actually way more cool than that. Because as it turns out, there are still 2 Snorlaxes in Kanto. But this is a simple reference to the fact that Red caught one and put it in his party. And you don't see it until the final battle upon Mount Silver.
Oh, that's cute. But why did the other Snorlax move, I wonder? It took him 2 years to move slightly down the road. Okay, you know what? That tracks, actually. That makes sense.
Have you learned something new? Maybe consider subscribing.
I did. I only knew 3 of those things. I did learn something new, so I guess I'll subscribe. Oh, wait, I can't subscribe because I already did. I already subscribed. I subscribed so much. And this is a year-old video, but Smith has been doing a lot of fantastic Pokemon videos recently. Also making a ROM hack of Pokemon Yellow. Just doing a lot of good stuff on their channel. You should definitely make sure that you're subscribed there already if you have not already. I'm saying already too much. Anyway, you can also use code Patterrz at Gamer Subs for delicious beverages, caffeine or caffeine-free, international shipping, less than $1 per serving, and they're absolutely amazing. And it would be absolutely amazing if you subscribe to this channel as well.